Welcome, everybody, to Inside Texas Football, powered by InsideTexas.com. Here we go. I've got Eric and I've got Drew. RT is just text me. He's learning how a computer works. He may be joining us later. We've got SEC stuff going on down in Destin, and we sent our very own Joe Cook down there. Is he allowed in the city of Destin unaccompanied by an adult?
Well, that's the thing. I think you're only allowed in there if you're a tourist with 5 kids in a minivan. But or maybe spring breakers. He's still precocious enough to fall for a late spring breaker.
Precocious enough.
He drew the tough job this week. Destin's a great place to go work. I should probably join him at some point just to make sure he's doing his job properly.
That's a good idea. I think that's some high quality management is the way that I look at it. We've got those meetings down there, Drew. I don't know how much you've been able to keep up with it, but I've noticed that the take, depending on which conference you cover, is very, very different on how people are viewing these meetings. Oh, there's RT. Congratulations on figuring out your computer. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We got. So I'm curious here, Drew. You've heard several different iterations or theories or opinions on how we should expand this playoff system. You've been pretty vocal about this for a little while. What are your thoughts? Let's just reiterate them for the people.
Well, I think from my perspective, first and foremost, this time last year, we weren't paying this much attention. I mean, we were excited for Sark, first year in the SEC. These meetings were great, but there wasn't as much drama that is stemming from the meetings. I think this year we have a lot more that Sark is being vocal about. CDC, I mean, we've seen some interviews now and got some sound bites where I'm actually happy we're in this league. Just think just a couple years ago what side of this we would be on. So I think the thing that stands out to me, at least first and foremost, especially this week, this meeting, with the conversations that are being had, is, well, I'm glad we're at this meeting and not anywhere else. So it feels great to be a part of the SEC, but also because of the leadership. Greg Sankey understands the value of the conference, understands the value of its members, and I mean, he's just going to push for what is fair relative to the SEC. So can't argue against that. But when it comes to the structure and everything else, once we went beyond 2 games and went to 4, I was fine with 4. Then once we extended beyond that, it just made it muddy, Yeah. So at this point, I'm fine with whatever they roll out there. I think Texas is prime in position in this environment to be in the mix in any given year, and we should be. The only prime concern, and Sark points it out, is, when you have these longer seasons, what do injuries look like? But beyond that, I really don't care, man. Roll the football out there. We'll play as many games as we need to play. We'll play against whoever we need to play against. And I have a coach, and we have a coach that is building towards and building for this type of environment. And I feel really good about where we're positioned.
RT, so Drew is saying he wants the BCS back. What is your take on these meetings and what's going on over there?
Well, the BCS treated Drew pretty well, so I can understand why he feels that way. I mean, I wrote something today that was a quote, like based off a quote that Sark said yesterday, where he feels like the era of undefeated champions are over. And so I do think, we're entering into a new era of college football where we once maybe lionized or made legends out of our favorite teams of our past, like the 05 team or the 69 team, or, obviously there's different examples in recent history of amazing teams like 2019 LSU, and those teams are heralded because of their invincibility. But really now I think you're going to remember teams a little bit more in an NFL style way. You're going to remember them more for their resilience, more for their grit. The fact that, oh man, this team had 2 losses before the 7th game and they won the national championship. I mean, I don't like them, and obviously they eliminated Texas last year, but I think Ohio State's an example of that in the first year of the 12-team playoff. So I think I always think of stuff from the fan perspective and just how our perspective on champions and really how we judge success is going to change in this new era.
Eric, I want to ask you about specifically the QB room and why Matthew Caldwell is in that room. But before we do, I want to hear from one of our sponsors.
This video is brought to you by Luxe Kitchen and Bath. Luxe has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Luxe Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring to life that dream vision of your special home. But that's not all. Luxe's all-star team provides full remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Luxe Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUXE today. Or visit luxekitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get a free quote today by calling 833-358-LUXE. That's LUXE. Or by visiting luxekitchenbath.com. Link in the description.
So first of all, let's throw it to the patron saint of the pod, and that is Mr. Brett Nelson dropping $1.99 for his Dr. Pepper at the next tailgate. Eric, I was going to ask you specifically about Matthew Caldwell, and I think it's relevant to what RT was saying. I mean, we are playing a longer season. The idea here is that we might, I mean, I think it's more likely than not you're going to have fewer and fewer undefeated national champions. What is Sark doing by bringing in maybe a lesser known, however wildly experienced Matthew Caldwell into his QB room?
He's just covering all his bases, which you should always do in the NIL and portal era. You should have very few questions on your roster if you're a consumer like Texas is, where they're the buyers in the portal market. They're not losing. They're the apex predator. So they should have no questions going in with, relative to how competitive the whole landscape is. Everybody's going to have some question here or there, which is why Sark is saying there will be no more undefeated teams. Schedule's just too long. There's too much variance within the schedule. You're going to play a lot of good teams. You might not be a good matchup for some teams. Georgia had Texas's number, but other teams had Georgia's number. It could just be, bad luck or whatever. You're going to have a loss here or there. But Caldwell, the value of Caldwell is that he can be an extension of Steve Sarkisian. He can be joystick. He's got the experience. He does RPOs. He can use his legs. So Trey Owens is a wildly gifted passer, more gifted than Caldwell, certainly. But he can win. His strengths will come to bear when he can read defenses and get through progressions quickly. He'll have to do that quickly. That's not usually the strength of a young quarterback. KJ Lacey is a true freshman. He's a guy that can run all the whole playbook in theory, but he's extremely young and untested. So this is just answering all the questions. You want to be able to have a backup where you're not going to have to change the playbook all that much, that Sark is going to have enough trust built in to do the simple things, RPOs, use his legs, and hit a play action. But Caldwell's going to be as good as the run game. But the design isn't to win a national championship with Matthew Caldwell. The design of bringing him in is to save the opportunity to win a national championship. If Arch misses a game, you need him to steal an A&M game. Maybe Matthew Caldwell builds his legend that way. Who knows? But you want to enter the season with as few questions as possible, and that's why Caldwell made all the sense in the world.
So I think, and you've said this as far as I'm concerned, because I speak Eric, but let's just go ahead and cut down to brass tacks here. If you had to guess today, which is, let's face it, not an appropriate ask, but let's say Arch is out, who do you think is going in?
I don't think it's much of a guess. I guess I don't know with 100% certainty, but it'll be Caldwell. We were talking about them bringing in a quarterback. We in the weeks leading up to Caldwell picking Texas, we said there's a lot of intrigue remaining at number 2. I guess a lot of people thought we were talking about Trey Owens and KJ Lacey, which is fair enough. That's kind of what I wanted them to think. But I'm pretty sure Caldwell would be the guy. Otherwise, why even bring him in? It doesn't make any sense. What are the chances you would name your number 4 quarterback?
Then I think it also depends on the situation, right? I mean, I feel like if you need a bus driver, say, Arch is nicked up and it's the Sam Houston State game and maybe you don't roll him out there, I feel like you definitely let Matthew Caldwell start. But then I think if, God forbid, it's a more serious injury where he's going to miss multiple weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, something like that, then I would think that might be where you would see someone like Trey Owens get some run, because he's probably going to be a more longer term, higher ceiling guy. But at the same time, it kind of depends where they are in the schedule. And maybe you don't want to roll somebody like Trey Owens out there for their first start against OU or Georgia on the road, and you just want to rely on your defense and the other aspects of your team. But I really do feel like it would depend on what the situation was and what was required. Because, I mean, we saw a few years ago, I think Charles Wright almost started a game against UTSA.
He wasn't going to start. So I would buy this more. I would buy this more if they have a strong running game. I think Trey Owens can have success. If not, he's going to look like Quinn Ewers out there and not be able to. He's going to self-sack too often. It's just if you're going to win from the pocket, you have to read from the pocket. You have to act fast from the pocket. You have to get the ball out quick from the pocket. You have to move around and create space within the pocket and outside. And I'm not sure that Sark has trust in him to do that yet. But so I think it would look a lot like Quinn Ewers if they're in there, if Owens is in there without a running game. But we'll see. Hopefully we don't see.
Right. I mean, that's the whole fun part about these hypotheticals, right? Is hopefully we never see, and sometimes it's really nice to be wrong. Now,
a lot of people are going off of what they saw from Trey Owens in a spring game. That definitely is a talented guy. There's no doubt he can make the throws, but live bullets are a whole different thing.
I think the thing that I'm interested in with all of this is exactly what Eric is pointing at, is this idea that the quarterback who's playing, which will certainly be Arch, is really going to be dictated by that run game. I mean, what we're able to do with the run game is going to really change how Arch plays, what goes on with the play call, because I mean that's Sark's bread and butter. He loves to run that ball. But then again, guys, Arch throws bombs. So what are we going to do?
Well,
all right,
running the ball and throwing bombs tie directly into each other.
No, I totally agree. I like to do both on NCAA 25. I bring in Steve McNair. It's a hack I've done. It's pretty cool. I think everybody should do it. Let's talk a little bit about something that was mentioned by the patron saint, Mr. Brett Nelson, and that is the idea of tailgates. This is important news, Eric. Tell the fine people that may not have been on the board today, and you should join InsideTexas.com. But we're going to be having some tailgates this season, and not just at 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an IT subscriber, we'll get you in. We're going to buy a certain amount. We're going to sponsor a tailgate for the entire year. It'll be a little flexible. We'll have a lot more room, obviously, for the A&M game to pack as many of you wild men in there as possible. But yeah, it's going to be, even if you're not signed up to Inside Texas and you want a tailgate, it would be worth it to buy a year subscription to IT. It's a lot cheaper than buying into this tailgate. If you're just a random person trying to go, you'd make some money off of it. So I'm really excited about that, especially with this season. It gets me a lot. The games aren't the greatest this season, the home games. But having a tailgate, a set place to go to every week, see the same people every week, catch up in person, gets me a lot more excited for the game for sure.
I'm just curious, RT, what was the first game that you ever went to? The first Texas game?
It was the 95 Tech in Texas game where Tony Brackens destroyed the Texas Tech kicker, and it was extremely cold.
Oh, okay.
I believe Texas won 48-7. One half of my family was very excited. The other half was very sad.
And Drew, did you attend a game prior to being recruited by the University of Texas?
I did not attend a game prior to being recruited by the University of Texas. I think my first Texas football game was against K-State. That was, goodness, man.
Was that the David Allen one?
It's 2002.
Oh, no, David Allen was before that. David Allen returned 2 punts. Everybody in the stadium's telling him don't punt to David Allen. They kept punting to David Allen.
Oh, well, we did that against Jordy Nelson. It was actually 2003. But yeah, they had a squad, man. Like, for Texas to win that game, especially, this was a K-State team that had, I mean, Darren Sproles was there. L. Roberson was a quarterback. Yeah. That was, we won, 24-20. But that was an exciting game because K-State was ranked. Texas was ranked. that was a game where, I mean, it was right before OU, I believe, that year too. So don't want to talk about that. But yeah, that was my first home game. That was fun.
And same question to you, Eric. Did you attend a game before you were recruited by the University of Texas?
That is the same question. Am I have the same answer? No, I did not. I don't even remember my first game. I had a lot of friends going to UT. We were all out of high school around the same time. And, it's probably going in 97 season. I'm sure I went to one and then pretty much every year since then.
I want to go back to this because I think this is really important. I want to push this tailgate thing because I want Drew to start really just selling some swag here. If you go to this tailgate, is it going to include a picture and an autograph from Drew? Drew?
Yeah, I mean, now you're trying to get me to lose money on this because now I'm gonna have to sign Drew to an NIL deal.
That's right. He's gonna get.
I'm trying to make money.
I promise you, you won't need Sark's bag to make this happen. I promise you, you won't need 40 million to get me to come out to the tailgate. I promise.
Yeah,
get some Polaroids.
We'll get the whole gang over there. The Girl Herd. Make sure you guys are checking the Girl Herd show. They're excited about the tailgate, rolling through, wearing their academy gear and all that. It's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm very much looking forward to it. You know what else I'm looking forward to is just fiduciary advice.
I'm just going to say, guys, you probably need a fiduciary financial advisor. And I've got the guy for you. His name is David McClellan with Forum Financial. He works broadly and deeply with his clients as a financial life coach. And he should know something about coaching because he won several national championships as a swimmer for the University of Texas. He specializes in financial planning and has contributed numerous articles to Kipling on the topic of retirement tax bombs. So contact David today to be your fiduciary financial planner and schedule a 1-hour consultation to assess your financial situations. The free consultation is available, so just give him a call. The number is 312-933-8823. That's 312-933-8823. His email is also in the description below.
I really like this question. I'm not going to throw it to Drew. I'm really curious what RTs would be. If you had an NIL deal with a restaurant, RT, what restaurant would you use? What would you really want?
Oh, when I was in college, I think it absolutely would have been Players on MLK.
Nice.
Rest in peace.
This is easy for me and Drew.
Well, go on.
It's got to be Pinkerton's. We need to make sure he's got a strong Austin footprint with stores in Houston, soon to be 2 stores in Houston and 1 in San Antonio.
Drew, you got to say what you told me in the fall because it was a great answer.
Well, I think I told you what I tell you. Outback Steakhouse. Yeah. I mean, we used to go there every week, every Wednesday. I used to eat with the D-line. Yeah, we go there every Wednesday. Get some Kookaburra wings, Alice Springs chicken. It was the same thing, a blooming onion. It was the same thing every week. We were just creatures of habit.
It's like a 50,000 calorie lunch.
Oh, dude, we burn it easy.
It's amazing.
Then get a chocolate thunder from down under. Dessert. Like it was the same thing every week. They should have. I mean, if you wanted to see defensive linemen and me, because my roommate was D-line, Frank Ocam, I went and ate with them on Wednesdays. Outback every week.
See, that seems like a paradox. There's going to be plenty of food, but no leftovers.
No. The only time we were quiet at dinner was when the food was there.
Yeah.
We were loud. I mean, as soon as the food came out, it just silence.
I used to hit up the Mr. Gaddy's on MLK for the buffet with Luke. Luke Pellman was my roommate, and he was trying to he never was able to gain weight to get over 300 pounds. That's why they had him at that flex tight end Malik Agbo position. And he would just go to Mr. Gaddy's to try to put on the pounds, and he would probably have 8 different plates of Mr. Gaddy's pizza. So that would probably shout out Luke Pellman from Brenham, Texas. That probably would have been his NIL deal back in the day.
It is remarkable to me the caloric intake that I was. I mean, you got chips and queso. I mean, you haven't even had your meal, and you're 5,000 calories deep.
Who counts those calories though? Who counts the calories of chips and queso?
That's the point. Is you don't.
Once you're having it, you commit. You don't even count. You know what you're doing.
You don't count them until your pants stop fitting, and then it's a whole new situation. Oh, God,
it all works when you're burning all the calories and running around playing football. It didn't really work after that though.
So on that D line, the one that you were with, Drew, who housed the most?
Man, I mean, dude, they could eat, man. I mean, Rod, Frank, Tim Crowder, Brian Robinson, actually Justin Blaylock used to come. Dude, I mean, they could all eat. I think Blaylock, Big Bank probably took down the most food.
That's why I was hanging out with you guys.
I was like, why was Justin there? Big Bank wanted to eat. He can't. He took down the most food for sure.
I would say that I'm assuming it's obvious to me that everything is above board and you guys are paying full freight for this food. But if you had to guess, what was the lunch bill with that group of people on a general day? This is hard hitting news, guys. Welcome.
You know what's so funny? You know what's funny is there was always a check that came out. There was no Venmo or anything else at any time. But a couple of the guys would cover it and we'd pay them back or do something like that. But I don't know where the money was coming from. I just know we ate and it got paid.
That's okay.
But a bill on something like that, 2004, 2000, I mean,
$50,
$55,
right?
A head, $55 a head. If
fair enough.
Alice Springs chicken, you're getting wings. We were splitting the wings. Some guys would get their own serving of wings. We'd share the blooming onion. Everybody would get their own dessert. But you can get out there $55 on a Wednesday. Throw a little tip in there. And then later that night, you can because you had walkthroughs on Thursday, you didn't have a tough practice. You can hit up Whataburger later just in case you weren't done yet.
Okay, all right. You're getting a little bit of a reputation here, Drew.
Hey, this guy's got abs coming through his polo right now, so I'm trying. We're gonna get him off the rails like White Goodman at the end of a dodgeball when he just says "screw it." Hey, Drew and I put down food at Pinkerton's, the Red Lion, a handful of times. Drew's got a healthy appetite. He had to earn his way into that table. He wasn't just allowed in because of his roommate.
I earned my way.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. So let's real quick. I just want to go back to this because I am notorious for staying on topic. The model that was put out by Mr. Greg Sankey originally, and I have to believe that this gentleman is playing chess, is he wanted, what was it, 4?
5.
5. How many automatic bids did he want per?
5.
He wanted 5. Right.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's
4 conference champs and highest rated G5.
Okay. 4 conference champs and highest rated G5. Okay. So now how many guarantees did he want from the SEC?
I think he was just talking. I think all I saw was that he wanted the next 11 were in, and then they ranked.
It's just one. It's just one from the SEC championship game, and then you just seed the rest of the bracket. So you just seed the rest of the 11. Yeah.
Because he knows exactly how the SEC is going to seed.
That's right. Yeah. So he's going with the 5 plus 11 plan to somehow look, I don't know, benevolent,
equitable. Yeah. Equitable. Yeah. And then it's going to be, mainly SEC or 5 or 6, 5 SEC teams probably.
Well, this is true. And Homer, thanks for watching, Homer. I really appreciate you tuning in. They really have. I'm wondering, of all the models that have been floated, which one makes the most sense to actually make it to some sort of reality in your mind, RT?
Assuming they're going to 16.
Yeah,
they are going to 16. I don't know if it's now, but it's inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they they're going to go to 16 teams, I like the 5 plus 11. The thing where I would, tell all the people who are painting their chests with or getting tattoos of SEC logos is I do think that how they seed a 11 team or 11 at-large teams playoff would maybe change a little bit from the rankings that we're accustomed to. Obviously, the SEC is still going to have the biggest talent advantage and the biggest, depth of NFL players on rosters. But I do think, you're not going to see a committee full of all SEC people. So I think you're going to still see some surprises at the end of the day where I don't think it's going to be, 9 SEC teams getting in at the end of the day. But I I like the way where it's just 5 plus 11. There's only one way that you're guaranteed to get in. It keeps the emphasis on conference championship games, and then everything else is just an invitational, so to speak, and it's based on your resume. So I don't like any amount of guaranteed auto bids that's set per conference. That just reminds me of Champions League in soccer, and it's just it's a disastrous system in my opinion.
Where do you any differing opinion there, Eric or Drew?
Not really. I'm just happy, these meetings happen and everybody gets a really good idea of how many competing visions there are for the sport in the future. I wrote a long article in February about this, how convoluted of a mess it is. And, they're talking about all these different things, the house settlement. It's a giant mess. So, they should tackle one thing at a time that they can actually solve. Something like the playoff system should be a lot easier, obviously, than the downhill effects of the house settlement. Players getting paid with so many different laws throughout the states. Those things are very difficult. This should not be very hard. And Greg Sankey should use all of his leverage. There's no point in being the big stick if you don't use it.
Yeah, and this is it, right? Like, there's the 5 plus 11 really does. I think for me, if you're the Big Ten or the SEC, you're really betting on yourself there, and historical data points are going to prove out that you're going to be definitely in there, don't you think?
Well, yeah, they're kind of in control of their own future. It's like when an actor signs on to also be the producer of a movie. He knows he's going to win out, right? He's gonna hit it twice. So they should be. I think like what Homer just said. You get a lot of SEC representation without auto bids and forcing your way in. You're going to earn your way in.
Well, I want to go into this because this is our former fearless leader Brett Yormark is doing a really good job of basically putting us in the best position, if us being the SEC, and really, really leaning into this 5 plus 11. I don't think we're necessarily, again, I say we as if I have any say in this. I don't think the SEC is being charitable by any stretch of the imagination by saying it should be a 5 plus 11.
No, what he's saying is, and this is, it was partially why Texas got out of the Big 12 is because they weren't properly appreciated. They had what they felt were, and what empirically were, unfair revenue splits. So they're not necessarily out there to, push the Big 12 and ACC down. Well, watch what happens to the ACC. That's going to get Pac-12 in the coming years. But they have to look out for themselves. That's exactly why you organize. is to get the best deal you can for your specific group. Otherwise, what's the point of organizing?
Drew, there's something in my spidey sense that says you might have a comment about the regular season.
Well, first, before I get to the regular season, I've just thought that the longer our season gets, as much as we all want more football, it really comes down to luck more than it is talent at that point. Who's been the luckiest team to stay healthy throughout the season, not have too many injuries. Because I think at the end of the day, you're going to have still the same group of teams that have access to win a national championship. It'll be the same people. It'll be the same teams that are in that mix. Regardless if you had 16 or 8, I think you have the same teams that are in that mix. And so it really comes down to health. So my point here is that when it comes to winning a national championship, I think the road is actually more unpredictable. I won't say it's more challenging, but I definitely say it's more unpredictable than it's ever been, as far as having a team at the beginning of the season that you think can win a national championship and finishing with that exact same team and winning a national championship. That's where, even if your team does, there are other teams that may not. So that makes it easier for you to get there if other teams have injuries. And so I really don't like the luck factor in that. I think we have too many games, but I'll take more football. What I do like about the regular season, as much as people think that it may eliminate some of the excitement or the impact of the regular season, I think all of us are going to show up. It's not going to make the San Jose State game any more fun. I mean, it is what it is. But you can't tell me, regardless of the format, whether we're playing Florida at Florida, Mississippi State, Georgia, Vandy, it doesn't really matter. I think we want to win every game. We want to look good every game. We want to see our team make progress every game. We want to see young guys step up and perform every game. I think the fans that are watching their team play, they're watching because they want to see their team progress, not just win. So I'm actually excited about the ability to have a regular season unfold in a way where we do not have to be perfect, but we can grow. We can learn from a loss. We can kind of bounce back from that. I don't like to concede losses. I hate the thought of losing. We understood when I played that you pretty much had to go undefeated to have a chance to win a national championship. And then if you got there, you wanted to go undefeated and win one. And so I'm happy we had the chance to do that. But in this environment, I do think it gives us a regular season that we can look forward to every game, if not for just winning it. It's seeing how we grow and how we develop, and we progress towards firing on all cylinders once the postseason comes.
Seeding it this way that we're talking about also makes the regular season more important. Last year, the seeding was all BS. I mean, you had Arizona State was 4 seed or something. I mean, it's this seeding approach would make the regular season mean a lot more. And for those games like San Jose State, that's what the tailgate's for.
I also think that exactly what you guys are saying. As a fan, this playoff system has made the regular season far more engaging. Because look, if as an example, you're playing a marquee game early in the season and that doesn't go your way, it's sometimes hard to recover from that if you don't have this playoff system. It's a lot different going into this. But I'm just curious from your perspective, Drew. What I'm hearing from you is, let's look at it from a recruit perspective. I'm assuming that as an athlete, you still want to play in these marquee games. You want to have lots of big time games during the regular season. So that I would imagine that's a selling point still, isn't it?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, this league in and of itself, you're playing against NFL players every week. Even if the team is not good, you still have some guys you have to face that are growing, developing, and they're working towards that same thing you're working towards. I remember when I played, of course, years ago, I remember going to camp. I went to camp with the Bears, and there was a linebacker they drafted who started at Oregon State for 4 years. And it's like, where did this guy come from? Oregon State, they were trash at the time. That same player who starts for 4 years but is not on the best team in the SEC is still a damn good player. And so every week you're putting something on film that you hope scouts see. You hope to have competition that can validate your talent. And I mean, if you want to talk about the draft picks we've had since being in the SEC versus in the Big 12, there's no questioning whether a player is actually tested, whether a player is actually talented playing in this league. And so I think there's just a lot of question marks when you only get to see a player play a couple marquee games or games against marquee talent every season in some of these other leagues. So as a recruit, this is where you want to be. Even if you're starting on a team that will not win the SEC, or you get a chance to perform and be a starter in Texas, this is the league you want to be in. And there's enough games on the schedule to make your mark.
It's one of those things, RT, that I think, as a fan, we look forward to. Obviously, every week we talk a lot about the fact that the home schedule this year isn't as ideal as it could be, but just looking at it, I mean, knowing that you're going to have potentially 16 games, I mean, what are you most looking forward to this next season?
I'm looking forward to Arch.